Welcome back to another episode of To My Younger Self,
the #1 support network for students and graduates.
made by young people for young people.
It's Aleesha here.
And it's your girl Praise. Yay! Today we're back with another episode.
And the main topic of today is going to be academic pressures, the pressures that you might feel throughout GCSEs and A-levels, the importance of those things, etc, etc.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So,
Starting
as usual,
yeah.
I'm going to start off with the vibe of the week.
Also, can I just say, I feel like I've actually memorised that intro now.
Yeah, same. I didn't look down once.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm so
either.
proud of that.
So proud, yeah.
But yeah, what's your vibe of the week, Aleesha?
Okay, so, for those that don't know, the vibe of the week is just a recommendation that we have, something that made us feel good. Could be anything. Mine this week is a movie that I watched. I hope I've not said this one already. Have I? Don't Blink Twice? Have I said this?
No, I think we've said it.
We spoke about it in conversation off camera. Okay, so yeah, my recommendation is Don't Blink Twice. It's a new movie. Obviously, by the time this comes out, it should hopefully be on Netflix or Amazon Prime. But I went and watched it in the cinema the other day. So good. It's got Channing Tatum in it. It's directed and produced, I think, by Zoe Kravitz, and it's just so good. It's like a psychological thriller / horror. And without giving away any spoilers, it's basically about this rich man that takes away some girls on an island, and then some fucked up stuff happens on that island.
I'm going to watch it tomorrow, actually.
Yes, you are. Yeah, it's very good. So tell me what you think. You covered your ears when he was talking about it.
Yeah, we were with a lovely man we met.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He was spoiling it. And I had to hum to myself and cover my ears. But
I recommend people to watch it. It's very good.
I'll let you know what I think. I think
very good.
My vibe of the week, I haven't done like a film or movie or series before, so I'm going to do a series this time.
Yeah, you haven't actually.
And mine's Grey's Anatomy. Like,
I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
It's so good. Like, to me, it's like my comfort show. It's a show I always go back to. It's basically, if you don't know about Grey's Anatomy, it's about doctors. And they start obviously at the bottom chain as like, I don't know what they're called, but doctors, and it's like working their way up. But it's like they go through drama, they go through relationships. I mean, they deal with different cases. Like, each episode is always like a different case, and honestly, there's a meaning out of every single one. I honestly love Grey's Anatomy so much. It is 20 seasons long, and you might think, why would I get into that?
20?
But
that's worse than Game of Thrones.
By the end of it, you feel like a qualified medic. Obviously, I'm nothing near that, but I understand the terminology. It's just so great. So yeah, that's my vibe of the week this week.
Perfect.
So
shall we get into it then?
Yes.
Our main topic of today.
Let us. You look really nice, might I say.
You know, guys, if you're listening, come on the YouTube, because we both look good every day, I have to say.
Why,
come and see
you.
Our beautiful faces, especially in the comments, just like, absolutely ugly. Like,
and it's like, who gassed
them up? Literally. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, like, GCSEs firstly. Let's start there. What was your attitude like with GCSEs in terms of your revision and stuff? What were you like at that time?
I'd say for myself, I was honestly really, like, GCSE me is the most determined version of me that I've ever known till this day.
Day.
I don't know what fire was within GCSE Praise, but every time, like, I have a struggle or, like, I'm struggling academically, I always think back to her.
Yeah.
And, like, how much she persevered and just was so focused on having, like, she had a goal and she pushed.
I love how you talk about
everything. She did that. But yeah, GCSE version of me was very determined, very focused, very motivated. And I think it was obviously the first set of serious exams I've ever had. I did 11 plus,
true,
and that one, that one was purely geared by my mother, to apply for, like, schools. I don't know. Do you know what 11 plus is?
That's for, like, is it for private school and boarding school?
It's for, like, grammar
school as well. Yeah.
So that was another thing my mum made me do.
To be fair,
but, like, that time wasn't really personally motivated.
Yeah, true.
So
it's like all your parents
was, like, the first personally motivated version of me, but it was a great version of me.
No, I was the exact same. GCSE me was insane. Like, I've never had this level of energy since, and it's weird. I always feel like I've been burnt out ever since GCSEs, even though it was so long ago. I don't know why, but like GCSEs, I was. Do you feel like that? GCSEs. So I'm a very visual learner, so I found it super helpful, to have mind maps. Twins, we're actually the same. Mind maps. So I had like my highlighters in every color, would make it visually appealing, and honestly, that worked. I've seen like online some people bully people for that, like the highlighted titles.
But why would you do that?
You know that highlighter title where you do it in capitals and then you do the swirly one. Yeah, that was me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like, listen, whatever helps you learn helps you learn. Like, that was for me what worked. So I'd stick those mind maps all over my room. Yeah.
Wait,
this is kind of scary.
I have a literal video where this was before. Same.
Entire walls.
I'll send you, because obviously I wasn't on YouTube then, but that was literally what my room looked like. And you know what was so funny? So basically, at the stage of studying I'm at now, which is like my master's and qualifications.
Yeah. Big up masters.
I had to, thank you. I had to return back to that version of me. Yeah. Like, that's the only way I found that I could get through it. Wow. I made the mind maps and put them up on my wall. I'd wake up every morning and look at them, read. Like, that's how I got through my exams this year, because of what I learned from previous me. Yeah. But
some people say that it's bad to do that because it's like you're meant to separate your studying space from your living space.
Well, unfortunately, people
I don't feel like I had a choice, really. Yeah. I feel like the way that I am, throughout the entire school year, I'm so chill. Like, I'll do my homeworks on time and all that kind of stuff. Maybe sometimes I'll even do it late, but I'll always do it. Yeah. I'm very chill. I don't really stress about homeworks or courseworks or anything. But when it comes to exam season and like the months leading up to GCSEs,
agreed.
Like, probably from Christmas or something of year 11, I don't know. Like, I was quite switched on quite early in the year. Yeah, that's for me. It's like a different ball game.
I think during my time of GCSEs, the friends I had at the time really mattered with my GCSEs, because my school friends at that point in time were also very studious and academic. So like a friend of mine who I'm still friends with, Aleesha, like she would spend every lunch, like we go to lunch and then go to the library. Yeah. And bear in mind, that was not my cup of tea. Yeah. But like, because she's doing it, like I want to also study too. And I found it helped me so much. Yeah. But another thing I realised at that point in time was that oh my gosh, yeah. So one actual important thing about my GCSE self was I
Sorry, I'm taking my shoes off.
No, it's fine. I'll ask you this and then I'll speak about it a bit more, but do you know what subjects, like, do you feel like you clearly struggled in some subjects more than others?
I did. So GCSE science for me was horrific. So I did combined science because that was the only thing my school offered. Some people have bullied me since for doing combined science. Apparently it's like for the lesser able students. Listen, that's what my school offered. Ain't nothing wrong with combined science. I'm not trying to hear that. Yeah. But yeah, for me, it just didn't come naturally. I didn't find an interest in it. Similar with maths as well. Maths was always an extra struggle for me, which is obviously crazy to think because I did economics at uni, which is basically a maths degree. Yeah. And then I went on and did maths at A-level. So I wouldn't have expected to have done that. Yeah. But I think I was really lucky because... So I did go to a state school and there was like a lot of flaws with this school, but the teachers were amazing, I have to say. Like, they were really passionate about their subjects. Not all of them, not all the teachers, but like the ones I had, the majority of them were so good. Like my science teacher, so see what you said about the lunch times and giving up the lunch times, he used to do interventions. So like after school, we'd go to his class and he would like give us like extra science lessons, which I was always there for like hours, like a week, every day. Literally, I had to get that grade.
Do you feel like the teachers that you had impacted how you treated your subjects or not? Because I know for me, I had like one German lady.
Oh, God.
And I was good at the subject. Like, I was actually, like, German came really easy to me. Yeah. But she actually made it hell to be through, but it was just because of, like, you know how teachers might not actually take to you. Yeah. And she did that very obviously with me and my friend Dina. Right. But okay, fair enough. If I look back, maybe we were yappers. But
I was always yapping.
We always got the work done.
Yeah. Same.
But because of that, it just turned me off the subject completely because of that. But do you feel like you had any teachers that made you not like the subject as much?
No, actually, but I did have one teacher that wasn't good, and I thought she was good until I got my grade, because so this was my business teacher. She's good in ways that she did get me interested in economics, but in terms of like actually teaching the content, she only, and this was a problem with like our school as well, she only taught us a basic content in terms of what you need to pass. And like sometimes the teachers would do that if the sets weren't split up properly. Like we didn't have a top set for business, it was just one business class. And so I thought I was learning all the content, like I was being predicted nines, I was getting given back nines by her all the time. I thought business easy, I'm getting a 9. I got back a 7, which I obviously know a 7 is still good, but you know, like
go. I thought you were gonna say
no, but that was my lowest GCSE grade as well. Okay. But it's because you know, like when you personally know you're capable of getting something and you get lower, it's just infuriating. And it's because I wasn't like being taught the advanced topics.
that is very important. That where you say like you know you're capable of something, because that was something that played a big role in how I think I did so well. Very well in GCSEs, but it's because we had like a parents' evening. I think it was around December. It was either December or Easter before we go on like we had study leave.
Yeah.
And for my sciences, I remember one physics teacher, I only had one. The physics teacher I had at the time, he was like, with my mum and I, we sat down and he was like, yeah, she should only aim, like, at this stage, she's not going to be getting any higher than a B or C.
Oh, there's always teachers
and
like that.
My mum and I looked at each other, like, we gave each other a side eye. Bro. And I was like, look, I get it. Honestly, sciences are not my strong suit.
Yeah.
But my GCSE results showed different. What did you get in the end? I got 3 A stars, but like
that's so good. Yeah, so it was a 9. Yeah, well done.
But the point is, at that point in time, like maybe sometimes you do need someone to say like something so you can prove them wrong. But in that moment, I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. But I feel like this is actually a common thing that happened at my school, because there was also another time, like I said, sciences do not come easy to me.
Yeah,
but same. I think it's in the sense that I don't learn at the same time everyone learns in class.
Yeah.
Like I find it a lot harder to, like, they're really quick, or it was really quick. I felt like we were learning concepts at such a fast rate. So knowing now, like I never stress about the fact that I don't understand something at that point in time in class, because I know
that's a good mentality to have, because it's the same for uni, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with my economics lectures, I did have to watch stuff
exactly
again.
Like with revision, it will come, and now I know like that's definitely me. But there was another time in chemistry class and we did mocks, and let me tell you, I think it was obviously 100, like out of 100, and I'm very sure, guys, I got like 29%. I'm so sure it was in the 20s. And my chemistry teacher like wrote down, like marked and said, like, if you got this to this, it's an A star. If you got this to this, it's an A.
Yeah.
And then he put like, if you got less than 30, no one cares.
Oh.
And I was part of that no one cares. And I think I was the only one teachers, as part of that no one cares. And my friend Dina, like, she was like, just ignore him. And obviously I didn't care. Maybe I did care, maybe I didn't, but I think it was more of like embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm trying.
You know what they used to do for us as well, on the point of like embarrassment? They used to publish our grades outside.
That's insanity.
Like, yeah, all of our maths grades would be like on a board outside, ranked, you know.
Sorry,
ranked.
I'd actually rip it down before anyone got to see.
But I feel like, you know, sometimes I get it though. Because it's like that competitiveness.
You do.
Like, if I see myself at 4, I'm like, I need to get up. Yeah. But it is obviously quite toxic at the same time. I find it interesting though that we're both not like naturally inclined towards science and maths. Was it that same for you with maths then?
No, maths I really enjoyed.
Yeah. I think maths. I love maths now ish.
No, maths came a lot easier to me. I honestly loved it.
Because writing is the thing that came easiest to me.
Writing was not the thing that came easiest.
Wow, but you do law now. That's so interesting.
I know.
And then maths didn't come easy to me, and I was doing economics. What?
No.
Expect the unexpected.
But I think what we spoke about, like, how did you feel when you were doing your GCSEs? Like, did you feel like, obviously, because at that point in time, that's like the biggest set of exams you've had, and that feeling like the most important thing in your life at that point in time, like, how do you feel like you managed that? Yeah,
Or
what did you do to manage that?
I don't think I managed it well when I look back, and I feel like that's hopefully like a big message from this video is to take care of yourself. And I feel like I'm still learning this now. Like sometimes I don't really take care of myself when it's exam season and it's quite bad. But with GCSEs, it was just like there was no need to like overstress and overwork myself to the level that I did.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like I could have got those same grades, especially in particular subjects, with way less stress and way less hours. Because you're right, like it's the first set of serious exams you do, so it feels like the most important thing in the world. But what you realise is, seeing education in the UK, it's like no one would ever ask me my GCSE grades now, even feels weird talking about GCSEs actually. It's like to get you to the next stepping stone. So once you get your GCSEs, then you get to your A levels, sixth one, then you get to uni. Like even now, if you go into corporate, no one's gonna say what A levels did you get. In fact, no one's even gonna ask you what grade did you get on your degree.
I won't say that's not important. Yeah. Or at least I don't know. At least for law.
Yeah, certain things.
Our applications, like, they do care.
Really?
They do care.
So like for us, they ask for them. In fact, did I get asked? Certain places I applied to, certain companies did ask for them, but a lot of the time was for contextual purposes. So it was like a rare recruitment form afterwards to like kind of understand.
No, mine's never contextual in law. It's always been like important.
That's interesting.
But I guess that I do agree with you in the sense of like, I don't feel like I cared for myself. But to be honest, did I even know what caring for myself was at that point in time? Yeah,
no one talks about
like,
it.
I would wake up at 5 a.m, still do to this day. But like now it's more of like, that's just a routine of mine. But I would study days on end.
Same, hours.
Hours on end. For GCSEs. And I didn't actually, kind of and that has carried on till now, but it's like come out in more physical forms for me. Like I get hives during exam season.
Oh, like, same. Like what, like breakouts?
No, like on my body. Like I get hives. From stress.
Do you know if someone commented something sorry, it's unrelated, but kind of. Someone commented something cheeky on my YouTube video the other day. There was like, I posted a day in the life, they were like, she blames her acne on stress when she eats all that shit food. I was like, bro, allow me to eat my hot dog.
That's ridiculous.
It made me laugh though. Sometimes when people comment something like that, I just sit and laugh.
Time it makes me laugh. But yeah, sorry. I get hives. I struggle with migraines. But like I think that's like the older I got, the more important I realised
taking care of myself.
How important self-care is during exam season. And that's something I would have reflected on when it comes to GCSEs, like especially like celebrating your small wins. You finish a topic, woo, like you go treat yourself.
It's true. It's so true.
And also like even going for walks, I'm telling you, like thank God for the school I was in, like we still had to do like our sports at the point in time when we were doing our GCSEs. So I was still getting like physical exercise at that point in time.
I think as well, just like not being so hard on myself would be something I'd say to do differently. Like even the way I still talk about this grade 7, like I need to let it go. Do you know what I mean? Like
you do.
Like let it go. Like sometimes things are actually beyond your control. I think like a really good like not quote of mine, but something that I said once in a public speech that I really like is now I forgot it.
Okay.
Oh wait. There's factors. Something like there's factors that you're born with beyond your control, like your race, your religion, your class, all these kind of things, but there's factors that you can control to like sort of improve your life. And to me, that's probably why I put so much pressure on myself at that point as well. Working hard is one of those things that you can somewhat control. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the positive.
No, I think I get. If you could give us a one-liner on what you're trying to say, could you?
A one-liner on what I'm trying to say? Well, I feel like I applied a lot of pressure on myself because of my background and stuff like that, and trying to escape certain bad circumstances. But well, what's the but?
No, like you can't. Like, there's nothing you could have done about the fact that you were born a certain race,
certain circumstance.
But I think maybe it's just worry about the things that you can control.
Yeah, exactly. But to an extent, is what I'm trying to say. Don't overwork yourself. But obviously, they are important. Like if I didn't get those GCSE results, I wouldn't get to sixth form and blah, 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 blah.
With that being said, on the topic of sixth form, do you mind telling me what subjects you did for your A-levels?
Yeah, so also, by the way, just the GCSEs ones, the optional ones I did was business and arts. I loved art. You did it as well, didn't you?
I did art, geography, history.
I did history as
well.
Spanish. Geography and history. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't do a language as well because I moved schools too much, so I couldn't do language. A-levels, maths, economics, history, and like English lit to like AS level.
And then with that I did geography, bro. I did history, politics, Spanish and art, and then dropped Spanish like halfway through year 13 actually.
I want to say as well, I feel like, how we said about mind maps, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like you need to learn what is your way of studying, because mind maps do not work for everybody, for sure. Learn your way of studying, but also know that it's kind of different for different subjects.
100%.
Like, I would never sit and make a mind map for A-level maths. That's not going to help. The thing for A-level maths that got me my grade...
It was past papers for me.
Past papers, like, exactly. That's what continuously. Past papers, questions, just, like, churning it out.
Even with that, I would say it could be the case where, like... And I've noticed, through now, with some law modules that I have, but obviously this is transferable to like geography, history, I would find that certain topics I actually couldn't understand if I used the mind map. Like, even though it might work for that subject, a specific topic cannot be learned through that mind map. And what I would do is just change my way of revision for that. So I'd make flashcards for that instead of a mind map, and that would help me.
I did use flashcards, but I didn't love them because I prefer things being on a page. No. But I think like for certain things it works. I think maybe for languages and stuff
they were my greatest gift, actually.
Really? Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of flashcards.
But yeah, what did you do for your A-levels?
Econ, maths and history.
I did... Did I already say that?
Yeah, you did. That's why I'm wondering, why are you asking me again? It's been a long day, guys. Don't mind us.
Wait, okay. So why did you pick yours?
Oh, good question.
Did you know what you wanted to do before you picked your A-levels?
No, I didn't. So basically, I did GCSE business, and like I said, my business teacher was good because she got me interested in economics. She gave me a book, which I mentioned in another episode, Who Cooked Adam Smith's Dinner, and that first got me interested into economics and that idea around like feminism and economics specifically. Like, there's quite a few books I'd recommend. There's another one called Invisible Women, I think, which is really good, and it's just like about data and how things are like the world is designed for men and blah blah blah. Yeah, really good book actually. I might reread it. And yeah, that's what got me interested in econ. Absolutely loved it at A level. Was so interesting. I had such good teachers. In fact, shout out to Mr. Otley as well. Specifically, he was such a good teacher. With maths, very interesting because like I said, I didn't naturally love it, but I feel like I did it because I started to love it by the end of GCSEs, and also I thought I might want to do economics at uni, and I knew that you need to have maths. So like, this is a thing, like, I think choosing subjects is not necessarily as important as it's made out to be, unless you're going into certain degrees and careers. You actually need to have a certain thing, because without maths A level, there's like only probably there's only a small handful of unis that will accept you for econ.
I agree with that. I also think in the case where you don't know what you want to do, but in both of our instances we're very fortunate to know that we did want to enter the career paths we are going into now. Do you know how insane that is?
Yeah, well, yes and no, because I did know I wanted to study econ, but I thought I would go straight into politics. So there has still been some flexibility. I still want to do politics later, but I didn't think I'd be corporate. Like, I never envisioned that.
Well,
but yeah,
I personally always wanted to do what I'm doing now. And it seems crazy the fact that is the case. So I knew I wanted to do law, like, even prior to fifth form, which is year 10.
Yeah, it was
and I chose politics, history, Spanish and art. And before I explain why I chose the topics I did, when it comes to not knowing what you do want to do, I always think pick the subjects that will give you as many options as possible. Because there's no point picking all essay-based subjects when midway through year 13 you're like, oh, I'm actually really interested in econ or something. So like, whether it's one like maths
and
or
I think
science.
have like one core subject. So
Yeah.
like core being either maths, science, or English. I'd say have at least one of
That
those.
you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Even though it's tricky, I know, but like
Yeah.
you can't go wrong.
But I also nearly picked maths for my A levels.
Oh.
But I just really knew I had no reason to be doing
Right,
it.
yeah, for your
Well, technically,
career.
like it wouldn't have been done
you.
any damage actually, but I just knew I didn't necessarily need
suffering
it.
for no reason, really.
History I picked because I really enjoyed it, and
yeah, I loved
I
history.
actually did like I enjoyed it and I did well in it. So I wanted subjects that I also knew I could get like at least A stars in for whatever uni I wanted to do, or an A.
Yeah.
Art, I was really good at it, so I also picked that because I knew I'd be able to get at least an A in that. Spanish, I did it for the sole purpose of enjoying it, and then when it came to it, like looking across which grade would be the lowest, I had to drop it against my will. And what's the other one? Politics. I was like, oh, this will be enjoyable. I didn't actually enjoy English, hence why I didn't pick it. Like, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, did you always have your eyes set on LSE? Like, what made you? Why LSE? Was it random, or did you actually?
I actually didn't know about LSE before I applied.
Right.
It was more so during like when I was looking at universities. I did an open day, and I came with my friend Aleesha, who also went to LSE with me, and that was when I was like, oh, like LSE's
Did Aleesha
good.
go to LSE?
Yeah, she was just always traveling, so you never saw her.
Okay, cool.
But LSE's quite a good university. My parents liked LSE, and when I visited it, I was like, oh, yeah, I like it too. I actually had my eyes set on Cambridge.
Same. What hall?
Fitzwilliam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was Fitzwilliam.
Trinity. Small Trinity.
I think even that, I'd visited Cambridge maybe a year before, or even 2 years before. I'd been twice. And then the second time I went to see a friend who goes there. Her name's Lana. And she took me around with my mum, and I absolutely loved it. And I could envision myself studying there.
Yeah.
But that was why Cambridge was like my top choice. But obviously the application process is a lot longer. And then I did the interview and didn't get it. But at that point in time, I'd already picked Cambridge, LSE, UCL, and King's. I didn't. Oh no, Warwick. Sorry, forget King's.
Warwick, Warwick as well.
Warwick was my third choice, and
same.
Honestly, I think I always say this till today. I probably would have enjoyed Warwick more than LSE.
Really?
Yeah, I just think for the type of person I am, and my family and my friends who go there, or even like family that I know say that like Warwick would have suited me so well. And I think it's more so because of the extracurricular side of things. When I came to LSE, I lived at home. I didn't go into halls or anything.
Yeah.
And it meant that a lot of the journeys to go into like hockey training or just training or going out for socials, I live in a part of London which basically isn't London. So the commuting just didn't help me.
But maybe you would have had a better experience if you lived out for LSE.
Maybe. But I still feel like just being out of London, to be honest, would have helped me develop.
I do feel like the differences, because obviously I'm not from London, even though I've been here for a long time. It made me want to stay because I hadn't really fully experienced it. Whereas if you've been here your whole life, I can kind of see why you'd want to go somewhere else. But yeah, with me and LSE, I did actually really want to go there because I went to like a lot of their public lectures because it is the London School of Economics, and I was actually massively interested in econ. I would just come in my free time and watch their. I know, such a nerd. I was a nerd. I would come and sit and watch the econ lectures because they bring in like really, really cool economists that I've read their books and stuff, so I'd come along.
Do you feel like you've always been academically inclined? Do you feel like we were speaking about this off air as well? Do you feel like you're more book smart or street smart? Because I feel like that's an important conversation to have, because
it's different levels of intelligence is so many different
things.
And
it comes so easy to some people and not easy to others.
Exactly,
where do you feel like you stand on that spectrum?
I think that's a really good question. So I do think I'm naturally very academically inclined, but and I give thanks to God for that as well, because I do believe that there is some sort of natural inclination playing a role in these things.
Yeah.
Like But that said, what I'm going to say is there was always people that were naturally smarter than me and would get things quicker than I would. And I did put in a lot of hard work and like pressure myself beyond anything for GCSEs and A levels, which was during COVID as well. So that was even a whole other thing to battle with in itself. So I did also try, as well as like having that natural sort of inclination towards it. What was I going to say? What was the second part of your question?
I was just asking like where you think you stand on the spectrum and
The
stuff.
spectrum. The other thing I would say though is that I always had a creative side, and I didn't know. We were talking about this off camera. I didn't know how that would look when I got older, because I feel like you lose your hobbies along the way. But I don't know. Maybe in a different planet, I would be like an actress right now or something. I just don't know, because I think a difficult thing for me was that I was very, very creative, but one thing that stood in the way was finances for me, because I did like a bit of everything and I was pretty good at things as well. Like I remember in acting, I got like casting calls, I guess, for quite a few things, but then it would be a thing where, like, because of our family finances, my mom might not be able to drive me to the audition, or like might not be able to continue paying for the acting, or my like just certain things like that got in the way, or even with running as well. Like I did that for a while, but then money, like these things are so expensive. So I don't know, maybe in a different lifetime I'd be doing something else, because I did like a lot of things.
Do you also feel like, and this is just on me thinking what you've just said, or actually no, on what you've just said and then thinking back to myself, how big of a role do you feel like elders or like parents or family played in what you decided? Because for me, I know I'm Nigerian, for those who don't know, and I definitely feel, even if it wasn't outwardly said, there's a pressure to go down a certain like career
lawyer,
path
doctor,
or route,
engineer.
And everything else is literally shunned upon, looked down on, and that's why I'm so grateful to my mother, because like she always made sure that at least my siblings and I always had a creative outlet that we could go into, and she embraced it as well. And I guess it's difficult for my dad because he's not, like, no offense, he's not he ain't got that bone in his body. But for my mum, like she would buy us art kits and paints. And
that's so good. My mum did that as well.
Like so because of that, I was able to maintain the academic side. Because I had like a creative outlet.
I like that
for that. So do you feel like you not going into creative industry directly, because obviously you do YouTube,
exactly,
we do YouTube, like it's a form of art, it's a form of creativity,
creating content,
but that wasn't like, that's not the main
well thing. I would say on the thing you spoke about in terms of that pressure in sort of African households is something that I didn't experience. So for those that
you did or you didn't
so for those that don't know, I'm half Jamaican and then my mom is Malaysian and Irish, and I've been lucky in the sense that both of my parents have never ever ever pushed me down a certain career. Like my dad is an extremely motivating character in my life. Like he always encouraged me and said that I can do whatever I want to do. Like there's no limits on what I can do. But he never ever told me economics. Like in fact, when I told him economics, he was like, "Are you sure, mate? Because that's bloody hard." He was the one asking me, "Am I sure?" So I never got pushed down to doing a certain thing. Obviously, I feel like my parent or particularly my dad was probably happier that I chose something like economics than something like more creative, because they don't necessarily see a traditional career path out of that. So he's probably is in a sense happier, but I do think whatever I wanted to do and pursue, we would have supported. So
that's
kind of good.
Yeah. I also have another question.
Oh, okay. I have one for you as well.
Yeah, you asked me.
Do you want me to go first? Yeah. Okay. Mine was going to be just a little bit back on the point of like GCSEs and A levels, is about study tubers and the impact that had on you. Because like for me, massively they impacted me. Like Unjaded Jade's method of like blurting, I remember doing that. So did that affect you in any way?
I definitely say it did. And it was in the sense of like, I don't know, you know how people post videos of Pomodoros, like their live studying.
Oh yeah, YouTube?
I've also been someone where I need noise when I'm studying.
Yeah.
So I would watch study tubers whilst I'm studying and be like, they finished their work now.
Yeah.
I finished my work
No, those
now.
are so helpful.
Like, I'm gonna finish it now.
So helpful.
And I think that definitely helped. Like, it made me envision and enjoy studying more.
Yeah.
As opposed to feeling like it's a chore, something that I want to do, as opposed to something I have to do.
Yeah.
And that's how study tubers impacted me. Definitely, like, watching their videos on like study techniques, study methods. There's one who I know, I don't think she posts videos anymore, and I'm not sure if you've heard of her. Her name's Law Medley.
No, I don't actually know her.
But she was one, and I think it was her that actually inspired me, because she not only did like study content but cared about how she makes her videos. Like, her editing was
like
so
cinematography
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I loved that aspect, and that encouraged me to work hard.
I mean, that's kind of like your style of video editing now as well. I like that.
And another thing is like when they would post their GCSE results.
Oh gosh,
and that for me
did you
was
do
like,
that? You did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
do
you
that.
did. Your
That for me was like the first video I filmed, but it obviously wasn't the first video that came out. But even that for me was like, oh, seeing what they get. And I'm like, interesting.
Yeah,
like, very interesting.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed like thinking, okay, if I study, like, it'll be interesting to see what I get at the end of this, with how many hours a day I'm doing, or like what study technique I'm using. But yeah, how do you feel like they impacted you?
I think what's interesting with study tubers is they all actually kind of talk about how toxic study tube is as well, because there is like a toxic side behind it, which I thought was interesting hearing them voicing that. Like,
I can imagine.
Yeah, like,
I can imagine, like,
even just fear to like post rejections and stuff like that. It is a
because
toxic
there's
space.
this expectation placed upon you because you're doing something this certain way. It's going to work.
You have to do
Let's
this.
bear in mind, like, a lot of the time, even if it's A levels, GCSEs, that you can't determine what you're actually going to get.
Yeah.
Despite you studying for ABC, D amount of hours. And I guess I can imagine that for them, wherein they're telling people to study this type of way, or they're telling people to do ABC. And I'm sure it's the same in any industry, really.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling people this is the way to lose weight, or this is the way to do that.
Yeah.
But it might not actually work. I can imagine that.
My next question is, I feel like education is like such a massive chunk of our life. When you deep it, like, we're 20, well, I'm 21, just
20.
freshly come out of education. 22. You're 22, just freshly come out of education. I might
go
back.
Still there.
I'm
still in education.
There. And I definitely will go back at some point as well. Like, it definitely takes like pretty much all of your life, your early life. Do you think it is important? Like, what do you think the importance of education is? Why did you see the value in it, praise, like, to pursue it to the level that you have?
saying my name like that. Like,
why
okay.
you specifically?
Why I specifically saw the value in education is because of, at the time, what I knew it could bring to my life. As in, what I knew, or what opportunities I knew could come through me taking my education seriously. And obviously, it's not, like we've said, 100% certain that your life will end up this type of way, but I wanted to maximize my chances, my opportunities, and the possibilities of where my life can go by me at least taking my education seriously. And putting, like, being in control, like, because your education is actually, to an extent, in your control.
It is.
You can determine.
And I think that's what I really liked. I feel like growing up in a time where there was so much stuff going on that wasn't in my control, I could go to school and that was a one thing.
Exactly.
This is in my hands, and it was nice. It sounds like a bit of a control freak. Maybe it is a little bit, but it's like, yeah, this is my thing. No, yeah. You know?
And that's not to say like external factors weren't a thing, because honestly, thinking about it, like, there was actually a lot that I had growing up, but that didn't stop the fact that I could use education, and maybe at this point in time, like, that's changed now, but I could use education as an outlet for me to, like, I'm focusing on this now, and that's all I need to do, and I can work towards improving little by little. And that's why education has always been important to me, and I feel like it's also important because of what it can bring. I think in this day and age, like, it's this thing of instant gratification through, like, people thinking you don't, and we will speak about this, I'm not sure in this episode or another one, but it's like instant gratification where you feel like you don't need to do ABC, whether it's taking your education seriously, because you can post something or you can start a business, which I'm not saying is something you shouldn't do, but I'm saying things can coexist where things are just as important at the same time. And I think slowly education, it's being made to seem as if education isn't the only route, which is true, but that doesn't make it any less important.
I think one piece of like wisdom from my dad that I really like is no one can take that away from you. Like, no one can take away your qualifications or your grades. They are actually for you. Right, we're really pressed on time, but I wanted to do quickly a few of the trending takes. Do you remember?
I did do one.
Well, it's fine.
Let me know yours.
I think I've got two, so we'll just do them quickly because we're actually out of time now. So the next segment of the show, this is a new segment that we're trying out. It's called Trending Takes. So we wanted to just talk about things that are going on, like, in popular culture, current affairs, and just kind of give our opinion. Next time it won't be so rushed. But the first one that I wanted to talk about is, do you watch Friends?
No.
Oh no. Okay, well, so the actor from Friends, Matthew Perry, so he plays Chandler Bing in Friends.
I think I've heard of him.
Have you heard of this? So he passed away. In fact, I need to get the facts up when I'm talking about things like this, but he passed away recently.
He was in another show I watched.
Yeah, can you Google it for me so that I'm actually getting the facts right? Just type in Matthew Perry death. Yeah, he passed away not long ago. It was very sad, like, literally broke the heart of the nation, and it was like labelled as an accident. Like, I'm pretty sure, we'll fact check this, but it was in a hot tub that he passed away, and people said that it might be related to drugs. Which was weird because he had, like, published books and stuff like that and spoke before about his depression and his mental health, and had kind of, like, said that he was clean, if that makes sense. So people didn't really, coincide those two things. And then just recently, I remember seeing on my news recently, like last week or 2 weeks ago, that it was actually not an accident and he was oversubscribed something. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
What does it say?
By doctors.
Yeah.
So it's saying remorseful Dr. Bell.
Yeah.
And that it was as a result of 5 individuals who were obviously his doctors.
And they didn't prescribe him correctly.
You know what? This annoys me.
It's really infuriating.
But the reason why, and I'm not bashing the NHS, I'm not going to do that because you do great work. Thank you for your service to our country and community. But I think even like simply going to a GP, and it happens a lot with the Black community, where your like issues aren't taken seriously. Like, if you go to a doctor for a certain reason, it's not really like, they don't take well to it at all, where they listen to what your symptoms are and what it could be. And that doesn't surprise me that that's happened. It's really unfortunate.
It's really sad.
But maybe it will help the medical field.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's like a high profile case. But yeah, that was really sad. That was something I wanted to talk about. Well, anyways, guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. Yeah. I really like this conversation. I think
we'll speak about it more in depth, but obviously drop on our Instagram any episode titles you want us to talk about.
Especially for our solo ones. Like, let us know what type of conversations you enjoy, what you want us to talk about, and have a lovely week.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And if you're listening to this at night, we hope you have a lovely night.
Aww.
And for now, it's been your girl Praise.
And it's been Aleesha.
And we will see you next week on another episode of To My Younger Self. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. See you later.